Hey folks, Dr. Spears here on Saturday morning, doing something a little bit different in the car. So we're going to be doing that while talking to you guys about some things for getting into medical school and just what I've been seeing happening over the years when it comes to students and wanting to get into medical school. One concern I have is I get a lot of emails from students who tell me that their GPA is horrible. When I'm talking horrible, I'm talking a 2.5, 2.6, 2.7 GPA in undergrad. And it's usually the same story that they were immature in college, undergrad, weren't sure what they wanted to do, and made a lot of mistakes. But now they're at a point where they know they definitely want to be a doctor, and they just need a chance to show AdComs that they have what it takes to get into medical school, and they just need that second chance. And typically then they'll say something about, so do you have any advice for me? Do you have any, I know I need to get into a post-bac program. What can I do for that? And what happens is, when I was first starting out with Premed coaching and everything like that, I would jump in on this, respond to these emails like, oh, you need to do X, Y, Z in this order, follow all of this, and you'll get where you need to be. And then I would follow up with these students, and they did not do what was advised, what was suggested, and I had specifically answered what they needed to do or their question, and they just didn't do it. And so now it's come to a time where I've been doing this long enough where I know by the type of email you send me what's going to happen with you in this process of either applying to post-bac programs or applying to medical school, because there's a lot of patterns and pattern recognition, and you'll actually find out as a physician when you see patients fall into certain patterns, and that's how we make our differentials and diagnoses. We look at the signs, symptoms, do our history and physical, and a lot of that, just based on that, we can make a diagnosis. And there's some things that are clinical diagnoses where you don't even need labs or imaging to say what's going on with this patient based on the questions that you ask them. Physical exam, fine, you say, okay, you definitely have this, and that's basically the end of your workup. And that's what's even happening with a lot of pre-med students right now out there with these subpar GPAs and trying to get in med school and post-bac programs even. And why am I telling you all of this? Because you need to change what you're doing if you're going to be successful in getting into med school or post-bac program. And I always tell students, it's better to hear bad news from me, because I'm not actively on the admissions committee where if your application came to me and I was sitting on the AdComs admissions committee, a lot of times I would say, no, we're not moving forward with your application, end of story, and that's when you get the big R coming to you. So that's what happens. But with me, I'm telling you advice, it's advice, key thing advice. So that means you can act on it, make changes to put yourself in a position where you can be successful and actually get into medical school and achieve your dreams and goals, whatever you're trying to do. And so that's just one of the things that you need to be aware of, because as an AdCom, we look at certain things and they're not going to be forgiving. I look at certain parts of applications and we just see the same mistakes over and over again from students, or maybe it's not even a mistake, but we just see a comprehensive picture of you and your application, and we're just like, okay, if this person does this, if they have this also going on, the chances of them being successful in medical school are going to be slim to none. And so we're not going to take a risk or chance on this applicant because we've just seen it way too much. Now, I'm not in medical school, so it's not like I'm getting 12,000 applications each year for people who want to work with me to get into medical school. But I've gotten enough applications. I've been doing this long enough that even I see the patterns and mistakes that students are making. And so if I see it, that means the AdComs in medical schools, they're definitely seeing it. You want to make sure that you're not doing that so that you can have the success that you want when it comes to applying and getting into medical school. So one of the things that you need to do is you need to have a strong GPA. You need to do something to fix it. And you can't say you're immature, or you weren't sure if you wanted to even be a doctor when you were in Premed or whatever, or you had a lot of family issues and personal issues, you had trouble adjusting to college, because we hear that all the time. So why do you deserve to be in medical school because you had all of these issues, when I have somebody else who's going to tell me they have a 3.75 plus GPA and they want to be a doctor? Who am I going to choose? You guys know what's going to happen with that. So you need to keep that perspective in mind. Another thing, MCAT. You know you need to take the MCAT. You know you need to sit for the MCAT. So why aren't you studying? Why aren't you preparing? Why aren't you doing the things to be successful on the MCAT? Because you know it's coming up. You know you need to take it. You can't be afraid of it. You need to respect the MCAT. One of the things when I played football in high school, and what was one of the sayings was something like this: fear no one, but respect everyone. So you can't be afraid of the MCAT. It's a tough test. It's going to take a lot of work, but you just got to respect the work that's required of you and respect what they're asking of you so that you can be successful when you actually sit for the MCAT. The MCAT's a test you want to take once and only once. You don't want to have repeats when it comes to your MCAT. So just keep that in mind when you're doing that. Another thing is, I work with a lot of students. One of my things is I'm really, really good when it comes to helping you craft an amazing personal statement. That's probably one of the best things I can help you do. And so I've seen students all across the board. I tell people, when you work with me on your personal statement, what you have with that first essay, first draft, is going to be nothing like what you actually submit to medical school, because I really know how to get in there, transform it, and make it compelling where you show and tell your story, the things that AdComs really want to hear from you in this process of applying to medical school. And so with that, common mistakes I see. I've already talked about 3 big things in previous videos, blogs, and everything like that. The one is being an immigrant and education was stressed in your family, and that's why you want to be a doctor, lifelong learner. Nope, we hear that all the time. You're not unique. Another thing is you shadow Dr. Jones, Dr. Smith, or whatever. They're amazing, great bedside manner. They're so compassionate. They spend all this time with the family, and you just want to be like Dr. Jones and Dr. Smith. Nope, don't do that, because you're just basically writing a letter of recommendation for them, which tells us nothing about you and why you should be in medical school, why you're going to be a doctor. Other thing is, we hear that you had this epiphany in like biology, a science class, and now you want to spend the rest of your life unraveling the mysteries of the human body, and the best way for you to do that is a doctor. Nope, we hear that all the time, so don't do that. Another thing that I haven't really talked about, I'm working with an applicant, and they wanted to write about homelessness, not them, but observations of it and trying to help the homeless. However, that's a very, very tight route to walk and thread the needle through, because oftentimes it comes off as disingenuous, and it also comes off as insincere, and usually it shows privilege without being empathetic for a person's state or condition. You can volunteer, but you talking to somebody for like an hour or a day at a volunteering event does not make you compassionate towards a homelessness, and more often than not, it's going to come down as condescending, and you have a woefully bad outlook on what a person is actually going through, and it rubs AdComs the wrong way. So you need to be extremely careful about putting that in your personal statement for medical school. There's a way to go about that. Another thing you need to watch out for is a lot of times you will do some type of mission trip, maybe, and maybe in the supplementary part of your application, there might be a picture requirement, or in your essay, and you are going to have pictures, or you're going to tell stories, and you're going to be posing from somebody from a third world country, and it's basically you're trying to get, I'm going to say, bragging rights or brownie points for this, and AdCom do not like that at all. So if you're thinking about doing that, do not do anything like that at all. Talk about your mission trip, talk about what you did, what you learned, how you changed from it, but we don't want to see pictures of you posing with minority children from third world countries, because it's overrated and we don't find that compelling at all. It's actually a turnoff for a lot of AdComs, because we read between the lines and we know what you're doing. That goes for all aspects of your medical school application. We read between the lines and we know what's going on. As I was saying with the students with the low GPAs, I see it all the time. I know how this story is going to unfold, unfortunately, and it's not like you're going to be that one applicant who's going to shock me and surprise me that you bucked the trend to what everybody's doing. A lot of pre-meds think that they're very special and unique. You are as an individual and a person, but what you put out on your application, your activities, your extracurriculars does not stand out compared to everybody else. You got to remember, you're just one of 53,000 people applying to medical school each year. So you have to ask yourself, are you really doing something that's totally unique, totally different? You're not. You're not. Your activities and everything else, you're shadowing, volunteering, what else do you need to do? Research, getting it published, even the classes you take. It's pretty much cookie cutter pre-med stuff. And the way that you can really distinguish yourself is with your personal statement and letting us know more about you, those things that can't be found on your application, so that you can stand out and really make a positive impression with AdComs. You don't want to go into this process where you think like, oh, I gotta really impress somebody, do something that's never been done before. No, we want to know, we already know that you want to be a doctor, that's why you're applying, so that's kind of already there. But you need to tell us, like, what's your personal motivation? What are you going to do for the field of medicine? Why should we take a chance with you and accepting you into our medical school? That's what needs to come across, not like all these activities that you've done and all these hours of shadowing and everything like that. And so just really think about what you're doing and just take a concerted effort. And now it's already April, and so applications are going to be opening up soon. There's going to be a lot of changes this year, most likely with the coronavirus or COVID-19. If you actually have the infection and diagnosis, that's just what. So you just got to be ready for things. And I tell students, you need to prepare in advance, because what's going to happen is the whole process is going to change over, and and they're going to just say, okay, this is what we're doing. Everybody who's been on top of the things, go ahead and apply. You don't want to be like, oh, well, I didn't realize they were going to change things in this manner or this format. I'm not ready. I didn't get my MCAT done. I wasn't able to get in touch with my professors for letters of recommendation, those type of, or get my official transcript sent out. Those are the things that you guys need to be doing now, so that no matter what happens, you're already set to go. And so there you are, things that you can do to get ready for medical school. Dr. Spears here.